Welcome to Athar's Garage. In this video, I'll be working on the GL Racing GTR Step 1, or in the manual, it'll be on page 5. So let's get started. So the way that GL puts their parts in bags, there's like an A1 bag, A2 bag, and so on. And so I have the items from the A1 bag here, the control arms. I also have items from the C bag, which are here, C1 bag. And then I also have these items here and here that were in the C1 bag. Then we have items from our F1 bag. We're going to need the M2 by 4 km screws and the M1.2 by 3 PB screws. So I already pulled those aside, but I'm leaving them in the bag until I'm ready for them. And then we also need D18, which is going to be in the D3 bag, which is packaged in here. So looks like all of D is packed in here, but we need items from this particular bag, D3. So we need D18, and there's 5 of those in here. And for this particular step, we only need 2. So let me go ahead and grab those. There's a few different ball studs in this bag, so make sure you take a note and either separate them so you know that you have the correct ones. So there are 4 different size ball studs in this particular bag. There's D17, there's D18, D19, and D20. So D17 is the smallest one, and there's 4 of those. Those are D17. Then D18 is the next smallest one. It looks like it has the next shortest thread. And there should be 5 of those. Then D19 and D20. They look similar, but D19 looks like it has a smaller diameter ball. So these 2 are D19, and these 4 are D20. Okay. So for this particular step, we only need 2 D18s, so I'm going to go ahead and grab those, and I can put the rest of them away. All right, so now we have the items that we need for this particular step, so we can go ahead and get started. So we're going to need C1, which is this part right here. And we're also going to need C2, which is this part right here. And we're also going to need 3 M2 by 4 km screws. So let me go ahead and grab those 3. So those are the 3 that we're going to need. And I believe that's going to be a 1.5 millimeter Allen. I'll be using my HoustonRC Mini Z toolkit. They're absolutely beautiful, and they're great because the diameter of the handles aren't so big, and so you don't necessarily over torque stuff. So I would highly recommend it if you need to get some Mini Z tool sets. All right, so we have to check the orientation of this. So this wider section here and this thin section are going to go together, and it looks like this particular boss here will go in to that hole, just like so. And then we're going to install the 3 M2x4 KM screws in these 4 holes, or these 3 holes here. So this one, and right here. So those are now installed. I'm going to go ahead and set this aside for now, and I'm going to get our control arms off the sprue and get those ready for installation. So take note, because the bottom and the tops are different, but they do have L and R on the control arm itself to indicate which side they go on. So I'm going to go ahead and get these off the parts tree. I'm just going to use my fresh hobby knife. You could use some flush cutters, but I believe they're probably going to be too thick, and you might end up cutting into the plastic itself. So I'm just going to cut these off the parts tree or bend them off. So I'm just breaking them off the parts tree, and then any extra flashing I'm just going to clean up with the hobby knife. So a tip from the HoustonRC video on building the GTR said to insert the hobby knife into these holes where the ball studs install, and to rotate your hobby knife to take away any excess material, or just slightly shave or sand some of the flashing, so that way the balls are nice and smooth and move freely in there. So you don't want to rotate in the direction of the knife, of the sharp edge. You want to go away, so you're not cutting into the material, you're just scraping it like so. So you can see that there are some shavings that came off, so excited to see how these will play into being smooth after doing this process. So I am putting the arms in the correct orientation. This is the right side, this is the left side. This piece here is wider in the front. Then I have my right upper control arm and my left upper control arm. There are some markings here that say L and L and R and R. They should be facing up. So we can go ahead and continue to assemble our control arms. So we're going to go ahead and install D18. Nope, it's actually a 1.5 millimeter driver. And we're going to install these ball studs into the lower control arm in this hole right here. And you are going into plastic, so you don't want to apply too much torque. Once you feel it shoulder up, it's good. Next, we can go ahead and install the M 1.2 by 3 PB screws. There's only 2 of them, and it looks like we're going to need our Phillips head driver. And it looks like these are going to install in a very small hole on the back of the lower control arm next to the lettering right here. All right, now we can snap the balls in to all the sockets. I'm going to go ahead and open up C4 and get those ready. So I'm going to go ahead and use some soft jaw needle nose pliers to pop the balls into place. And I'm just going to take one of my drivers and move the balls around to make sure that they're fully seated and they can move freely. It feels like everything's nice and free. So the lower control arms have the balls snapped into place, so we can go ahead and take the C4 screw and install the control arm onto this piece right here. So this is the front side here, and this ball stud faces the front as well. So I turned it over, and what I found the easiest way to install it is to make this kind of vertical and drop it in and twist. And now you have easy access to install the C4 screws through the ball and into that piece right there. So these are the 2 holes that the screw is going to attach in on this side. And you want to make sure everything moves nice and free under its own weight, just like this. All right. Both sides move nice and free. So let's go ahead and install the balls in the upper control arms and then install them onto this piece here. So I installed the balls on the lower control arms from the top, and I'm going to install the balls on the upper control arms from the bottom. Okay, so now we can install the upper control arms onto this piece, and they're going to install it with the screws in these 2 holes here and here on both sides, just like that. And again, we're using the C4 screw it seems like there's a little bit of binding over here, and it's hard to tell whether it is from the ball stud or from the flashing on the control arm rubbing against this aluminum piece. So I'm going to take a close look at it and investigate and then fix it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take these off, sand down the flashing, and then take my hobby knife to the control arm itself where the holes are. I'm going to remove the balls and just try to clean them out just to see if I can get it to be a little smoother. Alright, so sanded it down and they now move nice and free. So I'll call that good. I think after a few runs they'll probably loosen up a bit. So I'm going to go ahead and call that good for now. And so that's it for part 1 or step 1, page 5 of the manual. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe if you did. Let me know down in the comments if you had any issues. I'll do my best to help you out. Stay tuned for the next video, which is going to be step 2 or page 6 in the manual. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.